Hi, this is Pastor Deborah Curry here with Repairers of the Breach Broadcast Podcast. We praise God that you're taking the time to listen to me, and I pray that the words that I give you or the host words that come before you would enlighten, enhance, anoint everything God can allow for you to have. I pray that you receive.
Greetings and welcome to Repair of the Breach Podcast with Deborah Curry. Tonight I am your host, Dr. Badu Ajanaku, and this is my co-host, Dr. Oloye Ajanaku.
Hello, everyone.
Tonight is men night, so we just gonna be open-minded to the life of the man, from childhood to manhood, and the responsibilities. And I just want everybody to keep in mind that every sinner has a future, and every saint has a past. How you doing tonight, Dr. Loyer?
I'm doing fantastic, Dr. Badu. I appreciate you inviting me here tonight. It's quite a interesting subject, repair of the breach. So, what would you like to talk about tonight?
Well, I want to talk about the past, and we go from the past to the present, and from the present to how we can vision our future. You know, me growing up in the country and growing up on the farm, I was introduced to a lot of different things in life. So
And just for the listeners, you are from America.
Yes, I am from America. I was born and raised in America.
What part of
I was born in Cayuga County in Georgia.
In Georgia? Okay.
Yeah.
So that would be a different experience than being born in New York
Totally different experience.
or California, per se.
Similar to California, but
Why
not
would Georgia be similar to California?
because of the plants, the fruit trees, and the vegetation.
Oh, you see California as more of a rural. You wasn't imagining it as the urban center. You was imagining it as the great redwood trees and forests and valleys and mountains and things like that.
It's like the difference between the city of Atlanta and the suburbs. You have the high-rise buildings. You have all of your intellectual buildings and businesses and stuff.
Right.
But during the suburbs, you have the countryside.
Right.
You have the farms, and you have the people that value different things than they do in the city life.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah, that's correct. So I'm gonna make sure that don't happen again. So the country. In the country, in rural Georgia, is that correct?
Absolutely.
It was common in the 1960s. That's when I was born. When were you born?
I was born right before the 60s.
Right before the 60s. So
Right,
you
at the
would be-
turn.
You would be in the 60s like me then, right?
Right.
So in the 60s, everybody had a daddy and a mama. There's an old saying, mama baby, daddy maybe.
Absolutely.
So I then came to Atlanta 7 years later. And if you count 2 and 7, would that be 69?
Absolutely.
Okay. In 1969, I get to Atlanta. I only remember one friend that my brother's named Ronnie House. He had a daddy. Nobody else had a daddy.
So
I was in Dixie Hill in a low-income apartments. They wasn't public housing, but they were low income, and it was a huge section of them over there around Anderson Park, things like that.
Right.
That was my immediate difference of South and then coming to the North. And the other one was I always had used an outhouse. So once I got here, my first time using an indoor toilet.
Okay. That must have been exciting for you.
Oh, that was interesting. Swimming in a bathtub, not instead of a foot tub. It was quite interesting.
Wow.
And the miracle that the water come right out into it instead of my mom having to heat it, pour it into the tub. It was a process. It was a ritual
Yeah.
to take a bath every night.
So you had moved on up, huh?
I had come, yes, yes, I had come out of the dark ages.
Yeah.
But now, in a way, we had a mama and a daddy. So everyone in the community, there was no apartments. Everyone had a house, you know, a yard, you know, no apartments. But there was two parents in the home. Don't ask me why I'm making that a distinction, but that was the distinction. That was the distinction. Yeah.
So that
One
was,
I never forget.
that was your way of being grounded. You were grounded with and by both parents.
I was born in the South on a slate of nature being your source before God. And the reason I say that is those watermelons had to bloom. Those peas had to grow. Those collards had to open. Those pecans had to fall. Those things, nature, we rely on nature. We could say God and all that, but as a kid, since you asking me, because I was a child, thinking as a child, church was on Sunday. Them fruits and vegetables and all that, that was every day. Picking peas, that wasn't on no special day. Every day, snap the butter beans, you know, do what you're gonna do with the tomatoes, do what you're gonna do with the corn, and you had to participate. I didn't like it. I love to eat, but I didn't like messing with no snap beans, man. I had other things I wanted to do, man. Shoot marbles.
I understand
Snap no
that.
beans.
Yeah.
Want me to peel off the stuff for the greens? Then get mad because I ain't doing it right? Man, come on.
And so you
I'm
got
marvelous.
fired. You was fired
No,
for
you might get
selling
one or
peas.
two lashes because you ain't paying attention.
Right.
Yep. Mess up my food, young man.
But mine was similar to yours. I was,
Oh, really?
yeah, I was raised up on the farm,
Okay.
Dr. Fisher farm in Sharpsburg.
Who is Dr. Fisher?
Dr. Fisher was the doctor for the county.
Oh, yeah, when the people get house calls.
Right. So he was
Ah.
the doctor for the county.
Now, you say you grew up on Dr. Fisher's pond. Do that mean
No,
you was...
Dr. Fisher farm.
Oh,
Dr. Fisher
Uh-huh.
was the only doctor around for the county.
Okay. So he
So
was very
Dr.
wealthy.
Fisher was very wealthy, and he had a farm that my grandfather, he was the head farmer on the farm. My grandfather lived on the farm. We stayed with my grandfather as I was growing up.
Was
So
your grandfather a sharecropper?
he was a sharecropper.
So that was a plantation.
That was a plantation.
Okay, but
To
thank
be
you. A farm.
real, you know, reality.
Big farm. Huh?
A big farm. Because we had the
Okay.
chickens,
Uh-huh.
the pigs, the horses, the
Right.
cattle, you know. We had the whole 9 yards. And we had, well, the
Dr.
silos.
Fisher had all this.
Dr. Fisher had all that, but we had a chance to enjoy all of that.
Okay.
So I was educated. My education was on the farm
With nature.
with nature.
There you
My athleticy was me running, jumping,
Mm-hmm.
lifting weights,
Mm-hmm.
all of that, playing ball, all of that derived from the farm.
Starting to do physical activity early.
Starting to do
Like
physical
working.
activity early, and my family was a large family because my grandfather had 13 children by his wife and 13 children by his girlfriend. So it was a lot
Wait a
of us.
minute now. Wait a minute.
It was a lot of us.
Mama, baby, daddy, maybe.
You know, the way I grew up,
Uh-huh.
all the baby was yours.
Did he take care of both sets?
He took care of everybody, not just both sets. He took care of the neighborhood. All the babies
Now,
was
excuse
his.
me now, just before you escape on that one.
Right.
Ray Wooten from my hometown. Ray Wooten, which he's a Wooten and I'm a Wooten. We're from different
Sets of
no,
Wooten.
hold on. We're same last name Wooten, but we never claimed to be kin. So we know that you inherited the master's surname, Wooten. Now, the reason I picked this guy's out, this guy had a relationship with my cousin, Stella. he had quite a few children with Stella, and quite a few children at home. The two women fought over him and everything. But what I can remember about Ray, Ray fed all his children, regardless of what I thought about him or the community thought about him. He brought food to Stella, and he took food home to that sister till he died. And all of them called him Daddy. Now I'm asking you, was your granddaddy live in those boots? Don't scare about he all the people's father. That
My
ain't what I asked
grandfather
you.
was the head deacon of the church,
Oh, he had a
and my
lot of-
grandmother was the head usher of the church. So they served the community.
Okay, he had to keep some things undercover.
The business
Mm.
started from church.
Well, now what you mean?
I mean, my education started from church. It went.
But I want hold on. No.
Uh,
Let's clear
we're
up.
gonna get
let's
to
clear
it.
up Dad.
Yeah.
He did
My
not.
grandfather.
These other 13, because you put it out. He did not.
Well, that's my grandfather on my father's side. Now, my grandfather on my mother's side,
Okay.
it was 2 boys and a girl. My mom was the oldest.
Okay. You was fortunate to know both of your grandfathers.
Right. I was
Okay.
fortunate on both of my grandfathers.
And both grandmothers too.
Both grandmothers.
That's fantastic.
On my father's side was she was a Native American mix.
All right. Awesome.
And so I got to experience 2 sides.
And what that mean? Like
That
like
means
the native.
I spent time with my mother's father on the farm, Dr.
Okay.
Fisher Farm,
Uh-huh.
and I spent time with my father's mother, and I got to learn different things. And both my grandmothers grew plants and had herbs. They would send me into the woods to get certain things.
Right.
By the age of 4, I knew all the trees. I could name all the trees, name all the fruits and vegetables.
You
know.
learned that from the women.
I learned that from the women.
Ain't that something?
I spent most of my time that I can remember from 2 to 5 with the women. And my grandmother, on my mother's side, I used to stay in the kitchen with her all the time. I was her food tester, you know. Whatever she cooked,
So these women were very intelligent.
highly intelligent.
And if they lived in the Renaissance age, what would they have called them?
To be honest,
Yeah, to be honest.
they would call them mother and then their first name or their last name.
Oh,
Mother
I was
Hayes,
thinking they would have
Mother
called them.
Bays.
I was thinking they would have called them a witch.
Well, the witches came
Who
from
knew
the
about
women that knew about
medicine.
medicine,
Yeah,
can go get the
medicine,
herbs,
nature, the woman living out
right?
in the
Could
bush.
grow the herbs,
Yeah.
and could heal you like my grandmother. If I
Right.
got stung by a bee, she could take snuff and tobacco, mix it,
Yeah.
and take care of me. You know, I got burned pretty bad when I was 6 years old. I couldn't walk. They wanted to grab some skin from my sister, my older sister, but my grandparents them took me out of the hospital
Mhm.
and took me to a guy that they said talk the fire out of my body.
Okay, now we're going into we were on the grandmother and them having
Right.
intelligence, and
Going back to the
I-
witches, we're gonna get to them
right. I
calling
was
them
saying
witches.
if they were back in the day where people rolled around like the knights,
Right.
they would have called them witches and burned them at the stake. Because back then women couldn't have any intelligence.
They
That's
couldn't
why.
have any power. If they had power, it had
well,
to
no
be
intelligence. Well, power could be
right.
intelligence.
It
Okay.
has to be intelligence was power, and power was intelligence
Okay.
because they could heal
Okay.
and they could heal the sick and they could comfort you. They know what type of tea to brew. They knew what type of sass to mix up from where's sweet gum tree, you know, or get mints from around the house and brew and add it to the tea, a catnip. You know, if you had a cold or whatever, if you had the mumps, they know how to use the sardines. They were highly intelligent, but that intelligence was power. And that's what certain people, groups of people fear, is power. So they have to make it demonic. You know, if
Mhm.
you're able to do certain things and have certain intelligence, then you
Oh,
had to
so-
be a
so
witch. You
make
had
it
they had to
demonic
fear
then.
you,
You call them the root lady.
the root lady.
Yeah, that's
Work
scary.
roots on you, yeah.
Work roots on you. That's it.
Right.
Yeah.
But they was intelligent people. They had power.
Had
And they believed
knowledge.
in themselves. The knowledge is power.
Knowledge that you wouldn't understand unless they train you and you had an open perspective about nature.
Well, we look at it present tense.
Mm-hmm.
Knowledge is power, and knowledge is expensive. And if you didn't go to college and spend the money to get the knowledge,
Mm-hmm.
where did it derive from? Where did you get it from? Because in our hood, or in our family, so to speak, we pass down knowledge, and we welcome knowledge.
Well, to go back to my orientation, knowledge as a young person growing up in America, growing up in the African American community, it was not acceptable to be smart.
Meaning,
Meaning you would be beat up, picked on, called a square if you weren't cool.
so a nerd
Nerd wasn't a word.
today, present tense is the word.
A square, a bookworm, or just straight out, you think you know everything. And I'm going to beat you up because you're too smart. You're too intelligent. And we're going to suppress that.
So
'cause
in
we
order
not-
to survive, you had
so-
to downplay your intelligence.
Well, it could be the hate because to survive on the plantation, which you know that in the 60s, I went from integration in kindergarten to, segregation in kindergarten to integration in the first grade. So I'm on that full night to day transition. Got it?
I understand it. I went through
You
that.
sure you understand?
I
6 years I lived in integration. For 6 years I lived segregated as a black through the back door. Got it?
have that.
In South Georgia now. Back through the back door. You go to the back door when you go to the European's house to work, whatever. Go to the back door. You know what I mean?
I understand.
Okay. In the first grade, the school changed to integration. So I was the end. I was the very last Jim Crow stronghold kind of stuff. You got me now?
I got you.
Okay. And then the last thing we were fighting for after that was the right to vote or something, wasn't it?
Well, you.
Because remember now, when I went to school, I don't think King had died yet. Unless I got my time wrong, but it was a lot of stuff going on.
The civil rights movement.
Yeah, but that's one thing I could say. Maybe that'll set the tone on where things went. It was segregation, and then it became integrated.
But let's hold it right there.
Okay.
Let's stop right there,
Mhm.
because I don't want to get too far ahead. And let's go back to the grandparents, to the grandfather.
Who always was segregated.
Always was segregated.
That's correct.
But they had it. He was a sharecropper. My mother's father was a sharecropper
Okay.
on the farm.
All right.
My father's father didn't live that long, but he was into some of everything. And they say he was so bow-legged, if he would have stood up straight, he'd been 6'4".
That considered to be handsome or sexy with bow legs back then. Is that what you're trying to say? He was a player?
No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that's what I was told.
Okay.
You know, so as a child, you told many stories.
Right.
You sit down. Back then, we had family dinner, what they call supper, and they tell you the stories about your uncle, your auntie.
Right.
Who was the clown in the family.
Right.
Who was the genius in the family. Who was the greatest electrician or contractor.
Mm-hmm.
Because in my family, I had a lot of uncles. And I remember my Uncle Harold owning a HVAC company down in Noonan. My other uncle had an electric company. My dad was a sharecropper. But he worked for my grandfather, but he also was a cement finisher and a mason. And my grandfather had an incident that changed his whole life. After Dr. Fisher died,
Okay.
Miss Fisher, his wife,
Okay.
she became kind of ill and,
All right.
and what they call senile.
Uh-huh.
And so we had this guy come out of Texas that was into meat. He was into cattle. So he got rid of everything on the farm. She sold him the farm. He was into beef,
Okay.
Black Angus.
Okay.
That was the money, the Black Angus cow. So everything changed on the farm.
That's in the beginning stages of this special cut of beef, and it was kind of rare, and then they had to produce more stock to make
Right.
it more plentiful
So
for
they
everybody.
got rid of a lot of the livestock, a lot of the chickens, a lot of the pigs, and he was dealing in beef. He was a cattleman from Texas.
Okay.
So
And he changed that farm or plantation into raising Black Angus cows.
cattle. And he's changed the whole format of what Dr. Fisher had. Dr. Fisher was the type of person that was more human toward humans. He had more.
Let's see, Frederick Douglass' book, he was a good master.
Yeah, he was a great master because a lot of visits that he paid to the colored folks, black folks, African Americans, he didn't charge them.
Okay.
And the ones that worked for him, he would give them land. Or he'd give them a building in land. That's what Dr. Fisher would do. When Mr.
Dr.
Gonsby
Fisher
came,
was known for empowering African Americans who served
he
served
appreciated
him during their lifetime.
he appreciated his workers and his help. And he
Okay.
treated my grandfather great because he was a farmer.
Okay.
When Dr. Fisher passed away, like say Miss Fisher, she sold everything. And Mr. Gonsby came in. And him and my grandfather had some words a couple of times. And one day
Now that we look at it, Miss Fisher, being a European woman, in that day had no power to even vote. So now we got to look at Miss Fisher land was stolen from her because she was a widow. Unless our son stepped in who would inherit land, not girls. Boys inherit European wealth, not the girls. If she didn't have a boy, there was no inheritor to take the land. So she could be easily manipulated out of it.
well,
But you too young to know all that.
she was.
But today we can see that based on the culture, women had no power. European women had less power than African women. An African woman could talk to the white man. The European woman could not talk to the black man. You know that?
Absolutely.
That's right. 3 punches to the neck.
Now to stay on point is that
Are we on point?
one day my brothers got off the school bus,
Okay.
went up to this workshop where my grandfather was.
Mm-hmm.
They run up to him all the time. You know, they be glad to see him. He always have an apple or something for them in his lunchbox. He saved for them. And Mr. Gonsby went off.
Mr. Gummy is a cattle Black Angus.
Right.
Gonna start the Black Angus
And
business.
said some words
Okay.
in anger. And by this time, my grandfather had had enough.
He said words like, "I'm tired of these little kids running up here interrupting you from working.
You can
This
make it.
ain't a daycare, whatever."
You can make it nice like that.
I can make it nice.
He said what he said. He used
Okay.
a couple of other words and a couple of
Okay.
N words.
Oh, wow.
So my
Okay.
grandfather said what he had to say, and he said if the thing was different, you know, he would leave the land where it was. My
Okay.
grandfather left.
Okay.
By that time, he had built him a house on Highway 54 going to Peachtree City
Right.
from the money that he made from Dr. Fisher
Right.
and the land that he bought from Dr. Fisher.
Okay.
And he went home and sat for a couple of days, and Aunt Cora, she came and talked to my grandfather, got my grandfather a truck driving job for Stone Boxing Company in Stone Mountain.
Okay.
Changed my grandfather's life completely. Changed our life completely.
Because he made more money, like went from minimum wage to a better wage,
He went to a better life,
better life, better wage.
better wage,
Mm-hmm.
had a retirement plan,
Okay.
had benefits and bonuses.
Okay. Affirmative action, you think got them that?
Well, they wasn't around then.
Affirmative action was kicking in all that time with integration and all. It was all where we get our first managers and people in charge was during that time. Yeah.
But going back to us, where we derived from and where we came from before we came to the city. I had different trades then that I had from my family members. I took a little bit from my Uncle Bobby, my Uncle Harold, my Uncle Bruh, from my cousins. I took a little bit of knowledge from each one of them.
Okay.
So I learned electrical. I learned welding from my grandfather. I learned how to lay bricks and blocks from my father. I learned how to dig wells and set water pumps and all of that. Learned
So
how
you
to work on
learned to
engines
be
and tractors.
industrious,
Yes,
the vocation.
not knowing that it would come in handy.
Mm-hmm.
But by the age of 21, I had my own construction company,
Absolutely.
and I had workers for me. The same thing that I do now: heat, air, plumbing, electric, tile, marble, roofing. I learned all of that.
Now you know that
Down south.
Tuskegee,
Airman.
no, not the airmen. The Tuskegee School was built on teaching the African, if I'm correct, if that was him, teaching the African how to be industrious. Because most of us, well, let's just say we was already here doing work. Got me?
Gotcha.
But you would probably see that I can go build you the White House with the nice columns and the ironwork. But if you followed me home, it was a shack.
Absolutely.
But I'm a skilled master, welder, carpenter, stonework. But because of the culture, I could build you something beautiful and express all my artistic talent. But coming to my community, it was run down. Similar to what it is today when gentrification came into the community and said, I want to live around African Americans. I want to live out the American dream. Little white boys, little black girls going to school together. But for that to happen, I'm going to have to make this house look better. So I'm going to gut it out and redo it beautiful. Now, I appreciate that, a beautiful community, don't you?
Absolutely.
But I don't know why the price had to go up so high. for that
Cost
to
of
happen.
living.
Huh?
It's called the cost of living.
Okay.
It's a budget.
Okay, let's say your house go up in value. Why do my house have to change? The tax rate or whatever. You see what I mean?
I understand all of that.
I mean, all I know is what I hear. The seniors, the elders who pay a certain salary, after someone moves in and beautify a house, everyone in the community taxes go up because of this one person. I mean, the garbage man was always running the same day. The minimal or maximum services from the city was always the same. There's really nothing changed. So I didn't see to validate the increase where now mom and dad lose their house, even though they can't make it beautiful like the new person that comes in. But why they getting priced out? That just doesn't make any mathematical sense. That's all I'm saying. All right, so now that was to see the full picture of your grandfather leaving the sharecropping experience, getting a job as a truck driver, correct?
Correct.
And then the great improvement to his life with benefits, more humane work conditions, and I guess nobody calling him the N-word.
Well, that I don't know.
That you don't know. But he seemed happy there.
Oh, he was very happy because he could be more and do more.
Mm-hmm.
And that's going back to what you were saying about mama's baby, daddy's maybe.
Mm-hmm.
See, the way we was raised, the way my brothers and I and my cousins and our family, the way we was raised, we was a tight-knit family. And we visit everybody. We take turns going to different churches because we had different ministers in the family. That was different congregations in the family. So I got to experience Pentecostal, Holiness Baptist. My mom was a music teacher. She was a pianist for our church since she was 16. She
Would
started playing the
would
piano
that
for
be
the
called
church.
the choir leader or something like that?
Well, she was the leader of the choir, yes.
But when you say music teacher, means she taught music?
She taught music.
Like in school, public school? Or?
No, she taught at home. She would have
Oh,
people.
she was
had
a private piano
right.
teacher.
She had 2 pianos at the house.
Okay, awesome.
And people would come through on Saturdays.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know that when I was young. As I got older, I see, oh, she's a hustler. Because she'd make $16 playing at each church on Sunday. She played 3 churches. She would make $16 a church.
Oh, wow.
That was a lot of money for a Sunday.
Hey, man, that's a
But I didn't
nice
understand
salary,
it until, right, as I got older, and she was a seamstress, she,
Oh, man, she looking
make
good,
dress.
sounding good.
Yeah.
She would have been a great catch.
but she was on us. And like you say, mama's baby, dad is maybe. But I'm getting back to the dad, that regardless, my grandfather used to go cut grass for other people in the church when they were sick or they were ill.
Right.
My grandmother would go cook and go visit them in the hospital and bring gifts and flowers and make sure the children was okay, go cook meals for the children. It was a different, it was family, but they say a village in a community. I grew up with that. That's why I say my granddad was like all the children here.
Okay, so your dad had even though he had the 2 different women, 2 wives, let's say that.
Okay, my grandfather.
We'll make
on
both
my mother's
sisters
side.
of equality.
Right.
We ain't gonna put one over the other based on a piece of paper. He loved both of them,
Absolutely.
and he had children with both of them. He kept
Absolutely.
having children,
Kept having children.
and so he must have been doing something. Cause ain't no woman, we can't say a sister that's stupid to keep sleeping with someone with that many kids, and the guy ain't supporting her. Come on, that makes sense.
It makes a lot of sense.
I wouldn't want my daughter to be that stupid.
But I don't know about the word
How
stupid.
how many kids?
He had 13 by his wife, 13 by his girlfriend.
Okay, so that was my sister. If that was my sister, his girlfriend, I would go and, boy, give her some words that you have babies with this guy, 13, and he ain't helping you. She couldn't be that. I mean,
Well, you had to have help.
So he had to be
if
helped.
If you go back to when my father was a child
they didn't have welfare.
and my mother's was a child, no. What I'm saying is you had to take care of your family.
Okay. Well,
You had
we're
to.
gonna make sure we put that in, that he took care
He took
of
care
both sets of children, based on what we understand. Because there was no public housing, the welfare food in the can hadn't even come out yet, right?
Right.
Okay.
But they did have, like I say, church. The church was the headquarters for a lot of things.
It's good you say that. Now, the church started in the African family in 1800s. That's the research. 1800. That's when it started. Before then, it was illegal for Africans to congregate. Illegal. All hell rained down on you for congregating. Because in order to congregate, you're going to form a rebellion. You put your minds together. Mind brings about ideas.
And
Ideas brings about
changes.
truths. And the truth is, we done made an agreement that this guy keep the books and we do all the labor. And that's a bad agreement. So some people in Jamaica went against that. Some people in Haiti went against that. Some people who was able to meet in secrecy. You couldn't do it in South Georgia, but you can run in the mountains on some of these islands. And they joined together and met, and see what happened? Revolution. So it was illegal. And so the guy say, we see these black people meeting, listening outside the church, howling and hallelujah. I know they don't know what they're doing. Why don't we take advantage of that? And then for obedience, as the brother was telling me, for them to be more obedient, we can use that as a social tool to have more control over the African family. And so he allowed them to start meeting on Sunday with their own church. And that's when you had to build your own church. Remember that? You say you participated in building the church, right? You could build your own church. The only one and only meeting place the Africans can meet was on Sunday at the church.
And that's the only time they be out the cotton field and the cornfield, the sugarcane field was on Sunday. That's the only day they got a rest.
That's correct. And any holiday, still you use the church to do Easter, 4th of July, even Halloween. It was a program, man, to So when you read the history, a lot of people would meet then to meet their future wives, for other people to meet and handle a little business. I don't know what kind of business you can handle, but maybe exchange a mule or something. I don't know. But it was more than just church. It was for Africans to do something they just couldn't do any other time of the year or the day, was to meet, to congregate. And human beings has this tendency naturally to congregate. And so they used it as a source of authority to have control, because there was stipulations on what was being taught in the church when it first jumped off. And we all, Dr. Badu, my mother took me to church in 1960. I'm born in 62, so to give myself, without a shadow of a doubt, of what I remember, let's say my memory is 1965, 3 years old, 3 or 4.
I can see that.
Okay. My memory couldn't go back that far. I ain't gonna say 2 and 1 like some people, 'cause I don't believe them. I remember a sermon in this age in the Shallow Baptist Church in my hometown, Telfair County, of the preacher. You know he was preaching?
What was he preaching, Dr. William?
Hear ye, love the Lord, and do right by the Lord, so you will get yours in heaven. Milk and honey. Something like that. I'm 3 now, but I remember that.
Okay.
See? Be a good slave or servant or something like that. Don't be mad at the master, because you are, right? You will get yours in heaven.
After death.
There are many mansions. Now, 1800 to 1962, that's 162 years later, that sermon I heard. So it was still going on right then. And it would be real, it would be interesting to know if any little kid today born in 2002, right? He would be 20 today, 19. If he could say, man, I remember that in 2002, the preacher saying that. But that was true. And I crossed my heart and swear to the heavens that that's what I heard. Mm-hmm.
So now, coming present tense,
Mm-hmm.
what do you see now in the black community, in the African American community, with the males today, that they could set a standard or show us a standard that we were shown by our parents and grandparents, that we have something to hold on to have a strong family and to be rooted in a strong family no matter what, and to see that all the babies are ours, not just that you see the little kid running in the street and say, man, get the kid out of the street, and say, it ain't my kid, it's not my kid, you know, because that's the mindset I see today. That's not mine, so I'm not worried about it. That's not mine, so I'm not responsible.
Well, see now you missed in when we were urban, rural, in the village kind of section. In rural Georgia, Africans lived in something like a village. They wasn't scattered out.
No, they was across the track
Yeah.
or across the creek.
Yeah, but they live collectively.
Right.
So that's how we remember the mom saying, "Go get me the sugar. Go get me the," they
Yeah.
exchanging stuff and helping each other.
Go tell Auntie Bell I need
ooh,
some milk.
I see Badu down there. Look at him. Oh boy, just wait till I tell your mom. I ain't even gonna wait. Let me go out here and swing him down. Bam, bam, bam. And then whoop you all the way home. And then if mom wasn't tired, she'll whoop you again. Right? Them ladies,
Absolutely.
had it going on, right?
Where you got a whipping by everybody in the house that wasn't an adult.
Correct. So now when I come to Atlanta and Dixie Hill, we outside fighting because I got on a three-piece suit with the little handkerchief in the pocket
Right.
and the bow tie. Because my sister didn't know you can't
Dress
send
you
her to
up
school
like
like that.
Right.
Even though she had us deck the hall. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Oh, no, I got the beat down. I'm already not grow up I wasn't a baby, in the South, you just stay in your yard and we stay in my yard. There wasn't no conflict. But you don't have a yard in Dixie Hill. You got a door. In the door is your property. Outside of the door, everybody's property. There ain't no yard, ain't no distinguished my yard. So there was a lot of fights and brutality growing up as a kid and here. And as I said, everybody didn't have a father. And so I think the urban setting made people a little more
Aggressive.
what they might call rat race kind of, mentality. I didn't know nothing about poor then, but there was a poor community. We were living under the suffering, of being African Americans.
And being oppressed.
Being oppressed, and there was a few people who had made the doctor. I remember Monica Kaufman had made, as an anchor woman, she was out in Dixie Hill reporting a dumpster fire. We was known for setting the dumpsters on fire. You remember stuff like that?
I don't remember that.
Okay, well, see, you didn't come to the city. You came to the city when you were more like 16.
Right.
Yeah, but see, like 7, 8, 9, we set the dumpster on fire
Yeah.
all the time. Want to see the fire truck come out, put it out, whatever. I remember Monica coming out. Probably we done it so many times. She reporting, and people standing around her. She was a little young, dark-skinned woman. Always wore like a little natural haircut. Yeah. So that's how long ago this been, man. Wasn't no mothers and fathers, wasn't no village. It was like there wasn't any love like in the South, even though we was oppressed then, but people kept their place. African Americans
They knew their place.
kept their place. European Americans kept their place. They worked together. My dad worked for the man. The man provided the chainsaw. The man pulled down the street. He jumped in the back of the truck with some more brothers. They go to work. They took a break, ate the sardines and crackers or the Viner sausages and the jelly biscuit, whatever that was. He come back home. He dropped my dad off up the street. I mean, right now, that he could have brought him right on down the street, but that still seemed humane, dropping him off up the street. You see what I'm saying? Wasn't no public transportation, but so he picked him up, took him to work every day. Paid him a decent wage. We got nice stuff for Christmas, So that was the culture then in the South. So there are two different realities in America: urban and rural. And they are nothing alike.
I agree to that.
Because when somebody from the country, you say, "Man, you so country, man. Look how you sound. Well, you just fell off the watermelon truck. You just fell off the banana boat. Don't you know anything?" Right?
All right, that happened to me.
Then the people come from the city down to the country. "Man, you ain't never seen chickens. Man, you ain't never seen a hog. Man, what have you seen, man? Those some nice shoes you got on and some nice slacks. But man, you don't know nothing. Man, you don't know how to climb a tree and get some plums? Oh man. All y'all do is kill each other up there. I don't never want to go to this. Too much killing, too much stealing."
So what do you see for the future?
Well, for me as a kid, for the future, today, 2021. It's very simple. Give the children the truth, the unadulterated truth, the universal truth. They will know what to do with it.
Can you elaborate on that a little more?
Absolutely. My mom and dad told me there was a Santa Claus. Santa Claus had more power than Jesus, depending on the age. For my mom, Jesus had more power. But for me, Santa Claus was the man. You know what I'm saying?
And you waited all year.
For years and years, boy, he had the best of the best. What's wrong with you? Santa Claus can fly with my toys in there. He know when I'm naughty, when I'm nice. He can spit tobacco in my eye if I'm being bad. Huh? Come on, man.
I follow.
And the one who can eat my mom's awful fruitcake. Huh? It's gone. That got bad. And could come down a chimney big as this little thing right here. You know, we had a little smokestack.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I know.
Yeah. It was,
I know.
it was not a
black
chimney.
stove.
Yeah, yeah. Just
With
enough
the
for that to
flute.
go. Yeah, with the flute.
Yeah.
He come down that, dude. And left my bicycle. My brother bicycle.
He was a gangster.
Baby beds. Dolls.
He was a
All kinds.
gangster.
Just beautiful, dude.
Okay.
Then I found out my parents told a lie. And it's going through my head. Because at this point, you were known to get the worst whipping when you tell a lie.
Right. Absolutely.
Right? I mean, they word out, don't tell me no lie no more. Right?
Right.
Right?
Right. Absolutely.
That's the worst one, right?
That's the worst one because they're going to talk to you and tell you why
Talk
they
to-
beating you.
yeah, Talk to you, tell you why they beating
And
you.
then going to beat you some more when
and
they
then
think
beat some
about
more
it.
when it's because you lied.
Yeah.
So I'm sitting there like, oh, these liars. Who gonna whoop them?
Yeah.
They told the biggest lie of all. So that sent me then on questioning everything else they had been saying. I couldn't believe them no more.
So where do the babies come from?
They ain't tell me that. Say that again.
So
Where babies come
yeah,
from?
the stalk bring the baby. Where did babies come from?
I don't know.
Okay. So looking at
I know nothing about girls.
the past,
Even when I got old enough to go, the nature and puberty, pulls you naturally to the girl. Where they say you can be straight or gay now.
Right.
So I was heterosexual because I like girls.
okay.
So being pulled to girls, I didn't know anything about it. I just knew that
But looking back there, the man took care of everything outside the house.
well, there were rules and duties each person carried. Yeah.
And the woman, whatever he brought in, whatever he conquered outside and brought in, the woman knew whatever he brought, she could manifest that into whatever. She could take that, whatever it was. She didn't have to complain about it. She could take it and make it work. So looking
I
at,
guess what you should say, they had a team, because
They
when
worked together.
When I came to Dixie Hill, the woman didn't have a team. She didn't have a teammate. And that woman that was raising them single kids, she was catching hell. It was hard on her. And then she wanted companionship, but seemed like the guy just wanted sex. So he comes in and he would play her to get the sex. And a lot of things can go wrong at that time. He can be a child molester. He can be an abuser. Or he can be just straight up playing her for sex and then gone. Either one still hurts. Either one of the three of your reason hurts the woman. Further mentally causing more depression, more lack of self-esteem, all of that.
so
So the African American man is the reason for the African American family to be in poverty. Can you see that?
I can see where I've been. I can see my relationship with females. Because most of the sisters that I dealt with and had a conversation with, they've been so badly damaged by the brothers. The brothers have destroyed the sisters.
In what way do you see this happening?
In what way do I see this happening?
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, when the brothers meet the sisters, they already have an agenda.
Well, but that's just natural. See, it's natural to have sex.
I'm not saying that.
Right.
But I'm saying it's just like...
But that is the only agenda. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Other than that, I be with my boys. A customary group of people I know.
Males.
My male buddies. Be with them.
Corner committee.
I'm going to break rank. Cause
Just the
nature
going to have you running
pulling
to the
me
female.
over there. Right?
And once you finish,
Once I finish, either I'm too immature, come back and tell everybody what happened, and further disrespect the woman. Not me, her. Disrespect her.
I say, you beating up the woman. You beating up on the woman, and that affects her.
I guess you could say, well, I mean, I ain't lifting her up.
No, you're not.
If that story makes her,
if you spreading your
saying,
privacy with the brothers,
yeah,
then
I guess I'm belittling her to the public whore.
You beating her up with words, right?
Yeah.
Instead of lifting her up, and she trusted you.
I didn't say she was my goddess.
No, you didn't.
Oh boy, Teresa, my goddess. She my queen. Don't you say nothing about her. Boy, I kill all y'all. Nope, I didn't defend her like that.
You just told him, hey, this how you can get her. This how you can get to her. The way I got to her.
Teresa gave it to me, man.
Yeah.
Woo-hoo-wee. Right in the back on the floor in the old empty apartment.
You ain't got to buy nothing.
And you can do it.
Spend no money. Yeah. Ain't got to have no respect. Just the man to tell the best lie. Always get the woman.
And the girls that were valuable, who had fathers, protected by the father.
Right.
I didn't go knocking on their door.
Because you didn't want to get hit in the head.
I didn't want to meet the father. Any father then to me would crack me side the head. Come wanted to see his daughter. 'Cause I know what my intention was.
And he knew what your intention was. He already know.
He knew what. I ain't have no job or nothing. I'm just harmonial, on a harmonial, animalistic quest. That's it.
You just show up at the door with an empty stomach.
When he showed the door, try to sneak through the back window.
And a handful of manhood. Hungry, thirsty, and
all
want what you want.
Just one thing, all I thought about. From the waist down. No mind. We didn't even want the girls to have a mind. Can you believe that?
You wanted to be
I
easy.
remember us joking, saying if we could cut their head off and just keep the body alive, it would be good for me.
Good for you, huh?
Yeah.
That was your testament.
Me and all my friends. I'm like, man, she too smart. You got too much talking. Man, we just want to get down to it.
And I understand
all that talking here about her past and all that. You just like, well, when we gonna
you
get
just
to this?
you just waiting.
Oh, day one.
Gonna
week
wait it
two,
out.
Week 3, yeah. Week 4, you know.
Gonna wait it out, huh?
Gonna wait it out, boy. I'm gonna wait it out.
Wait it out. So the intelligent female is like,
the more I would have waited 10 years if she would have held me out 10 years.
you would have waited 10 years.
Boy, who
whatever it took, huh? But she didn't know that.
I got to do this thing.
So the intelligent.
See, she didn't know she had me.
Why didn't she know she had you?
I think because in society, women are second-rate citizens.
Explain that to me.
In the beginning of this creation story, women are deemed to be some excess of something great.
So you talking about Eve? Are you talking about Eve?
I'm talking about what I'm talking about. Women are always deemed a byproduct of man. And here I am, a father, right?
Preach.
That means I have children.
Preach.
all males come from females.
Absolutely.
I never met nobody without a navel. If I had, there would be proof.
That they
I've
didn't come
met-
from a female.
I've met a hermaphrodite, and I looked it up. It's 700 recorded to be alive today.
700 in the book.
They can have babies without sex. They can self-reproduce. If you look for it, it's there. But it ain't in your education. It ain't in biology. They will talk about the earthworm being asexual
Or the seahorse.
or the seahorse.
Oh, you
But
can go.
brother, that was human beings, which now, see, we
Extinct.
finna go a little deeper
700.
now into this moral stuff that we looked up. What bearers of repairers of the breach
Understand.
was that the first human being was hermaphrodite. But that's a little deep, so we're gonna stay right there.
Yeah, we're gonna stay upstairs. We're not gonna go in the basement of the library where they hide the
that's
truth.
a little too
We're
deep,
gonna
deep,
stay
deep.
up where you had to be quiet.
Okay,
So you can't talk about the truth.
okay.
You can whisper.
You can whisper.
Yeah, but you can't
Okay.
talk about the truth.
Well, there's one book wrote that I reference everyone to on their journey for truth and knowledge and morality. When God was a woman. So,
The author.
all life starts with the woman.
You have the name of the author? Just
I
in
don't
case
have the
somebody
name of the
interested
author,
in the book.
but that's the only book ever with such a title.
Okay.
It'll come up.
Proceed. I'm not gonna interrupt you.
Yeah, it's good you interrupt me because I may go off in a tangent, and I want to be very articulate and on point. I don't want
Right.
to. I don't
Be
want to
on
ramble.
point.
So, if you see me going too far and being a preacher, lasso me and bring
I
me
just
back.
say strawberry and that'll knock
Okay.
you back
Strawberry
in. That'd be
knock
our
me
little
back.
secret word to bring you back in. When you hear strawberry, now you got to cut it short now.
Okay, all right. Nature is you. If you want to seek truth, for me, I say, well, nature is the only truth teller. It don't lie.
Meaning,
Nature today gave all of us a share of water in the form of rain, a share of oxygen, no matter if you're Republican or Democrat, a share of food. Nature provides for all living things on earth.
meaning that the female tree drops a seed.
Well, it has to. We assume it's female because we look at sisters who have eggs, mammals. Then there are fowl, which are birds,
Chicken.
poultry. They have eggs.
Yes.
There are lizards. They have eggs. So you have the mammal, and then the egg layer. I think are that only two?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So they all have these eggs. So we assume the tree has this seed, which is an egg, and there are some trees that doesn't have the seeds. They're
Right.
males. So
Saying that all life,
So
as
say-
we know it today, comes from the female.
correct, except the earthworm, and you say the seahorse,
Seahorse, right.
which they have, which is proof by nature that when we say hermaphrodite, we were not like we mystical,
Right.
like a unicorn.
Right,
You know what I mean?
right.
So we ain't off over there.
Like Spider-Man, right.
Like Spider-Man, like Santa Claus.
Yeah.
It ain't a Santa Claus moment.
Right.
Hermaphrodite is a real, alive today.
Entity, right. So,
As a matter of fact, I would have liked to be a hermaphrodite. Yeah. All in myself. I can make love to myself. I can marry myself. I didn't have to worry about you and her and anybody. Get heartbroken. None of that.
well,
dude.
so what about jumping the broom then? What about
Hey,
jumping the broom?
Hey, I could save money.
Oh, so here we go. Politics,
Well, I mean, I'm being a little funny, but
strawberry.
I would think being a
Strawberry.
hermaphrodite. I would think being a hermaphrodite, it must mean you have feminine and masculine principles within you, so you're more grounded. See, right now it's natural for a man and a woman to be together.
Right.
then it's natural for human beings to live in a village together.
Well,
I do not think it's natural to live in a city.
well, it's too much
You
pollutants.
got me?
It's too much pollutants. It's too much harmful gases. It's just the city is killing you every day. You're dying in the city.
I think you should reevaluate that.
Okay.
Rome didn't have all that, but big cities, no matter how far back we go, do not exist today.
The Roman Empire
Fail.
fell.
Egypt failed.
Right.
Greece failed.
Right.
All of them failed. Incas, all of them failed.
You
failed,
got to
failed.
have a food supply first of all. That's
You
the
can't
main
say
thing.
that.
You have to have a food supply.
It could be somebody come in and you done got it so beautiful, they want it. And they
And
would
they gonna
do
conquer it.
And they would do anything
Out of what? Jealousy,
out of greed.
which is jealousy.
Now greed is a monster that
I look at it like acid. Greed
Acid?
is like acid. It will eat up the container that holds it. It's gonna find a way out
that's
to
correct.
destroy.
Yeah. Got to have more and more money.
Right. So let's go back to the queen. Well, I say jump in the broom. Let's go back to the queen.
Okay.
You a man. You
I'm
a male.
man. I'm a male.
And you say you're attracted to the female.
I'm attracted to the female.
What
Oh,
attracts
Lord,
you
I'm
to the
attracted
female?
her.
Because the female,
Her softness.
by birth, is designed
Her,
to get your attention, so you can reproduce.
her scent.
Her scent.
Yeah, your scent repel me. Like, boy, you must. Oh man, you need to get from around. I'd be like, you know what I'm saying? But her scent, even if she might be musty, it'd be like smell like sweet rose water. You know what I'm saying? And then just think like back then with the little girl, she didn't have no weave or hairdos and stuff, but that nappy little hair was beautiful.
And that one little ponytail.
Oof, boy, no makeup, all. I mean, she just
Now
there it is.
I was listening to you a few minutes ago talking about
Maybe
the
I'm
woman
in
being
love
soft.
with the other half of myself.
What about the opposite of yourself?
That's what I meant. The
Okay.
other half, that is the opposite. Remember, I'm hermaphrodite.
Okay.
Nature split.
Well, myself personally, I like a nice lady, and I like for her to have a little tomboy in her too, so she can give me a challenge. You know.
Well, I think we're talking about preference.
Right.
But what I'm distinguishing,
Physical.
I didn't want my friend
Right.
to hug up on and kiss on. The sister naturally attracted me for that.
Yeah. Well, I work.
Naturally. You see what I'm saying?
I work with hard
I'm talking about
things.
walk miles to see her.
Yeah.
Not you, buddy. I'll wait till tomorrow to see you at school.
Yeah. We can play
I would
football
walk
some other
all
day.
night to see her. Walk her home from school, then walk back home. It's two different directions. That way to school, then double my way back to the school, then home.
All for.
All for the sister.
Now, like I say, I work with my hands, all day long. I work with hard stuff. I want to come home to something soft, something different, something more soulful, with life. But I still want that teamwork. I still want the understanding. I still want to meet, to have a meeting of the mind, that know we are on one accord, that we can think as one. That way, we can bring the baby out of the dirt.
That's good you say that, man. Now, in reality now, we males and females do not know anything about each other. There is no course on how to love sisters.
How to love brothers.
Have you had the course?
Never had the course.
Your sons had the course.
They never had the course.
Your granddaddy had the course.
He never had the course.
I ain't never heard of a course. Nobody ever talked about it, other than someone did tell me I lacked knowledge about women, how to love them. And then he say the flip side of that is she don't know how to love me. So we both ignorant of
It's
each other.
not a conversation.
I say, well, what we doing together? He say, only for nature is so powerful. It brings you together to reproduce. It's doing its part. But your mind it can't control the meeting of the mind. So today, we still being drawn. You have grandkids?
I have grandkids.
Okay. You think your son know how to love sisters?
I think
Or is that too public to ask?
that's nothing too public for me because I'm me. You know, I'm just me.
Okay.
My sons look at their uncles. They look at each other. They look at me. They look at their grandfather. And they look around at society. And they make from all of that a judgment on what I'm going to do, what I'm not going to do, what I'm going to say, what I'm not going to say. I did the same thing. I looked out the window and I saw everybody. And most everything started out with a P. You know, if I had to pronounce it, it was the preacher, the pusher, the politician, the pimp, the prostitute. You know what I'm saying? So, and I say, hey, you know, when I grow up, I really don't know what I want to do or what I want to be, but I don't want to be this. I don't want to be that. I don't want to be that. And in the end, I end up being just like my uncles and my father, my grandfather, which I didn't choose to. I didn't want to be
So
like them.
You saying, even though you didn't want to, you inherited and lived out what the culture was doing.
I wanted to be.
You wanted to be better than that.
I wanted to be greater,
Greater, okay.
and I wanted to be. My thing was to be a musician and a writer. But what made me money, what kept me moving, was laying bricks, working on heating and air conditioning, doing plumbing.
Right.
The same thing I was doing when I was little that I hated to do.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when I was real young, I loved to do it. I'd start fires. I watched my grandfather weld. I sneak up there and mess with the welder, you know, get beat up.
Well, I think what you're answering is everybody. Luther Vandross was born singing like Luther Vandross, and you wasn't. Maybe you used the saw like Luther Vandross used his voice, and so that was your calling. Even though you wanted to be like Luther Vandross, you have not been gifted to be like
Right.
Luther Vandross. But what I hear you saying is you accepted your gift and fed yourself and fed your family
I fed my family.
by with your hammer and your screwdriver and all your tools.
Right.
And you knew people in your life that were musicians and you just wanted to be like them, so you levitated around them, but you saw they excelled in the business as gifted musicians,
Right.
and it got to a doorway that you just wasn't good enough to play
I
what was
thought
going on the stage.
by my mom being as good as she was in
Mhm.
music and good as she was with that piano and her
Right.
voice,
Right?
I thought, hey man, this is a piece of cake for me.
I can
Until
see
the
that.
doors start slamming in my face and
Yeah.
slamming in my face, slamming in my face. They unplugging equipment. Oh, you're not in the union. What you doing in this club? You pay your union dues? And getting kicked out of this club, kicked out of that club. You know. Then
I think it's just like I say, man. There only so many Miles Davises. You know, everybody can't be Miles Davis.
you just have to be.
Or Luther
you
Vandross or
are.
Michael Jackson.
But for the brothers today, what is it that we can give them that we have learned and that we have picked up?
Now, you asking me that what we have learned and what we have picked up. I don't know what you picked up or what they learned. I can give you what I discovered
Tell me what
and
you
what
discovered.
and what I know will change society for the best, for the greater best overnight.
I'm listening.
It's
Yeah.
very simple. I was raised to see women as a thing. And so all my life, I looked at her and related to her as a thing. And I had all of society to support that. There are no goddesses in American culture. Now, what if it was goddesses? Then my community will be cleaner. There'll be no rapes and all that sexual deviant stuff, you know. I would have more respect. The world would be totally different if I saw sisters as goddesses. From birth, they are goddesses, and you treat them that way. They're goddesses. They're goddesses. They're goddesses. Not that they things. They're things. Oh, look at it's like
Body
you
parts.
remember when you little? Look at her real.
Body parts.
Not her brain, dude.
Body parts.
You start out early with the rear, and then if she developed, look at the front. Come on, man. You know the deal.
I know the deal.
The deal is today, I go on here and look at sisters. They showing their back. I did that. I manifest. See what I'm saying? That's my results of what I've done. Got sisters.
To be corrupt.
Got sisters more emphasis on their backside than their brain side.
I remember when we was young.
They're getting injections, bro, man.
And we used to take pictures.
Huh?
And
They're getting injections. Not going to school, get degrees, dude.
they spend a lot of money. They spend more money.
I'm talking about going in the back alleys getting silicone and motor oil and all kind of stuff for a little rump.
They spend more money on body treatments than they do on college.
I love my girl with her little bitty eyelashes. And now they 3 inches long. She, you know, I say, hey, you know, I like you with what you had. I mean, I ain't do this for you. I did it for me. When did you get dressed up for you? Who you get dressed up for, Dr. Badu?
The world.
Women, right?
When I get dressed up, I get dressed up.
You trying to
for
get
the
dressed up for
world.
me to be
No, I'm trying to be Dr. Badu.
Oh, well, I'm trying to have some sisters notice me. I'm going to just tell you.
Well, I'm seeing that's a part of it.
I don't want you to notice me. I don't care
I
what
want
you think.
my
but
energy
when
to
I put on my
shine.
little doodads, I want to attract her. And I thought that if she's straight, because there's a new world now that you freely can have sexual orientation as you desire, but I'm heterosexual. So if they're not heterosexual, then they're still dressing up to attract other people. I was just down in Midtown, and people down there who are gay, they live together to be more close to each other.
Yeah,
You know, people group in their likeness.
yeah.
Birds of a feather flock together. you
So
know.
they have choices.
Yeah. So, the truth. The truth.
That's what freedom look like. Just being honest.
See, to be truthful and give the biologists should have started with the hermaphrodite. You and I shouldn't be talking about that in our 60s and 50s. That should be something clearly that have been learned through biology and concretized so that we now don't have to have any issue with people who may be gay, if we're going to use that word, because in life you start out as a sister. I started out as a sister in my mom's womb. And then one little something happened and my vagina stuck out. See? And some genes did some things and didn't do some things. No breasts and some facial hair. See?
Just like that.
Just like that.
One
Right.
miss or either one hit.
One miss or one hit. See nature, honey? But then some nature still say, nah, I want some truth to come through. You're going to be a hermaphrodite. You're going to have both of them. Or you're going to be a woman and you're going to be a male. You see? So if all that would have been up front, I wouldn't have teased the guy for being gay. I could have embraced him.
Could have learned something.
You know, we could have learned something. His tuition, his attribute. He could have made me a better dresser. He could have made me a better dancer. He could have shared a lot with me just by me embracing my femininity, not my competitive kill attitude. Oh, you disrespected me. Oh man, oh man, oh man. You know,
All muscles.
all muscle. So we got this world of all muscle. It doesn't care about anything. Greed. Money, money, money. I can grab the woman. She'll let me do anything. The president.
Yeah.
As above, so
as
below. Yeah.
No matter.
If it top down, this America, top down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're going to trickle down.
Trickle down, yeah. So it's all the way in the hood. Guy snatch the girl in the alley, do what he wanna, and think it's okay. He doesn't see her as somebody's sister.
Because he's a man.
Don't see her as somebody's mom.
Or nobody auntie or nobody child.
Yeah. Just offer his own. Definitely he can't see her having a man, because you know if you really conceive that person as a man, you gotta conceive what you're gonna do to their man.
Right.
No. What you gonna do to their man?
You're gonna destroy their mind.
That's right. That's right.
And they're gonna have episode after
That's
episode after episode.
That's right. That's right. There you go. Now you got it. See, I destroyed this person's mind. The body done healed up.
But the mind
is destroyed.
Episode after episode.
Now I meet her years later. She's having kids, but now she's still living out. She was raped or abused or sodomized. All this crazy stuff we do to women.
To her psyche.
To her psyche, yeah. So we sell them drugs, alcohol, make them prostitutes. The European father doesn't come into the community and do that. I do that. I'm the main reason. So even though you ain't caught me doing it, I'm 100% responsible for it going on, because I haven't stopped it.
Right.
And that's why I'm here tonight to say the greatest thing I can do to change the world,
to tell the truth,
is to change myself. And the only way to change myself is quit lying to myself.
Absolutely.
And so when I talk to you, if it ain't about the truth, I don't want to talk about it. I don't have much time to waste
Not now.
jiving with you on the corner, slapping five no more.
Not now.
Talking about the Falcons. Talking about the Green Bay Packers. I don't care about the Falcons. I care about what am I leaving for the future? What little one thing I can do, you know, while I'm energy enough to do it. You see what I mean?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Not when I'm old and can't do nothing. Right now I have a little energy, you know what I mean?
Walk, yeah.
Yeah. So I think males need a good licking. And the good licking could be the truth. Yeah. You look bad, brothers. Your community look bad. You lawless. You have no sense of law and order.
No manners.
You know nothing about sisters. You never say nothing romantic
All right,
about
our time is about up, and thank you, DC, for giving us this moment. Thank you, Dr. Loyer.
Oh, I appreciate it.
for giving me this moment. I appreciate you, man.
All right.
And brothers and sisters out there, I appreciate you all. And the best thing we can do is be honest with ourselves. The truth shall set you free. And I didn't say that.
Give the babies the truth, and they will know what to do with it.
Find out more about our broadcast, Repair of the Breach, on Facebook, Instagram, or YouTube. Thank you for tuning in.